but it is a favorite of mine simply because of how interesting the story is. It's from 2016, 2014, I think. I think 2014 is when it kind of was released, I believe in overseas. I forget what country or what state. I think it was Italy. Somewhere in Italy it was released originally. And then it came international maybe 2015 to 2016. But it's been out for a while now. It's produced by Eli Roth, written by John Watts, starring people that I don't necessarily recognize except for Peter Stormare. You might recognize him from any copious amounts of movies over the last 40 years. You know, he pops up in almost everything from things like Minority Report, 8mm, John Wick, Premonition. He's been in so many movies. He's very much like a really, really good actor when it comes to being like a side character and playing those roles well. I think the most recognizable is his portrayal of Lucifer in the Keanu Reeves Constantine. So yeah, he's in there. Probably the only one that you really recognize, but he doesn't even play that huge of a role in this film. Now, it's written by John Watts, and by now everybody kind of knows who John Watts is. He's the guy who directed the Spider-Man movies that came out for the MCU. He also wrote the first Spider-Man, Spider-Man Homecoming, and he's also the writer for this film. So Clown is pretty much exactly what it sounds like. It's a story about a killer clown, but not really a full-on story about a killer clown. So let's get into what it's about. So it starts off with this father who's trying to be a good dad, and he wants to get like a clown costume so he can be a clown for his son's birthday party. He realizes, oh wait, no, it's not that he gets that for his son. He's meant to get a clown for his son's birthday party, and the clown cancels on him. So now he has to go out and get a costume to be a clown. Somehow he comes across this sort of like cursed costume, which has, I forget where he finds it, but he winds up putting it on, and the whole outfit is essentially cursed. He doesn't realize it until he's too late. The makeup, the wig, everything about the costume is essentially cursed to turn him into this killer clown. But in the universe this film sets up, the clown isn't necessarily like it's not the fact that the clown is evil, it's that it's a derivative of a demon which is called a clown, but spelled oddly. I think it's spelled like CLO like YNE, I believe it's spelled. And that's meant to be the kind of backstory of what clowns are and where the derivative of being scared of clowns is, because clowns are essentially demons or from another dimension. So he puts on this outfit, he has the birthday party for his son, and then all of a sudden he can't take the outfit off. So slowly he starts realizing that he's not able to stop being a clown. So now there's a rule to the clown. There's like this way to get past the curse. And the way you get past the curse is he has to eat 3 children before a certain time. And that's essentially what the demon is. The demon takes a host, kills 3 children, and then goes back to being sort of dormant. And what happens when this happens to the dude is that his wife is kind of struggling with whether or not to sort of help him in a way, because he tries to like stay away from his family. So number 1, he doesn't eat his own son. And number 2, he's still trying to figure out what's exactly going on with him. So while he's trying to figure this out, he's also discovering that, yes, he's actually craving children. And he eats one without even realizing that that's what he's craving until it's too late. Then the second one he eats, he like sneaks into this like Chuck E. Cheese like place. And then he just like murders a kid in a ball pit, and it causes everything to kind of go crazy. And then the mother shows up. It's this really great scene where the mother shows up and she's talking to the clown, and the clown is like, you know, not having any of her shit. She's like, give me my husband back. What do I have to do? Please, all I want is my husband back. And he's just like, bring me a child. And it's just so good. And this is what you get when you have like good people in like the writing booth. Because again, you got John Watts, who also helped write it. You had Eli Roth, who helped produce it. And these are big names behind it. And it's just upsetting that this film probably didn't get as much recognition as it deserved. Because, again, this was a film released overseas and then didn't come over here until years later. But it is still a good film. And I think Eli Roth actually stars in it at some point. I forget where he pops up, but he does pop up. So there's this huge battle that the mother now has within herself to either A, feed him a child, or B, find a way to like kill the clown. But in a sense, you kill the clown, you kill the husband. So that's where Peter Stormare comes in, and Peter Stormare, I should say. Peter Stormare comes in, and his character is like this demon clown, like ologist. I don't know how else. Like he's a historian that knows the background and knows the history of the clown. So what he knows is that the only way to kill the clown is you got to kill it by chopping off its head. So she's like, oh well, shit. So I can't save my husband. He's like, not unless you feed it another kid. So she's like, okay, well, fuck. What do I do? So she's battling whether or not to feed it another kid. And there's actually a really good like kind of couple minutes where you see her kind of questioning it. You see her kind of almost go for it, but it's not 100% like she's all there for it. And then she just sort of decides, you know what, I can't do this. And then she goes and she fights and kills the clown. And she never gets her husband back, but the clown is now sort of killed. I don't know if there was ever any plans to do a sequel. I'm reading here that there was no plans to do a sequel. However, it does kind of suck to read that this didn't receive the best in ratings wise. It's got like a 4.5 on like IMDb, and it's got like 46 on Rotten Tomatoes. It's kind of upsetting because I feel like it's actually worth a little bit more than that. Granted, again, this is more than likely B-level rated kind of quality, simply because of the fact that it's an almost comes out of nowhere film. And the only way you would discover this is if you were either A, really into anything that Eli Roth has done, or B, it just kind of floats through your string of friends and somebody came across it because they have, they have an obsession with Eli Roth, or they have an obsession with maybe the production company that pushed it out, which was Dimension Films. Dimension Films pushes out a lot of really, really good horror films. And to me, this is one of them. I think it's a really interesting take on the idea of creating this interesting backstory to something that maybe didn't necessarily need it. But then again, why not? Like, why not add this little twist to make clowns just a little bit scarier? Maybe clowns aren't just, scary serial killers or, pseudo giant spiders like in Stephen King's It. Maybe they could be these demons from the underworld or from another dimension of some kind. And the backstory they give it is really, really intuitive, and it's almost like it's legit. I don't know if it's legit. I don't know if it's just made for the movie. I've never cared to really sit down and look into clown demonology, but it's a really, really good film, and I think it's totally worth it to watch if you've never seen it before. Again, it's been out for a couple of years. I don't know where you could find it right now. Maybe Shudder will have it. Shudder's got a lot of stuff by Eli Roth. But it's really, really worth it. It's a really good film. I love Clown. I think Clown is probably one of the better quote-unquote killer clown movies of, I would say, the last decade, in my opinion, even though it's probably very highly underrated, and maybe a lot of people will say that Terrifier is more up there. But to me, Terrifier is more kind of gory. I also haven't seen the newest one that's coming out yet, or that's coming out. That's come out. But I do plan on... Wait, has it come out yet? I know there's a sequel coming out. I don't know if it's come out yet or not, but I do plan on watching it. I actually have to watch the first one again because I don't remember it all that well. But I do believe that because that's still in the level of like, he is still... it's still a killer clown movie to the extent of what killer clown movies are. I feel like this deserves a little bit more praise for being unique to the idea of clowns and it being different from what we've seen and not just almost like how Killer Clowns from Outer Space is different. You know what I mean? Like, that's a completely different take on what clowns are and the origin of clowns, or how do you make clowns scarier. I think this was a great idea, and I think it's done very well. I think the story is very, very well written. So I think it's worth it, and it's kind of upsetting that it doesn't get enough praise, at least from what I see online. But maybe it's got a following. I think it should have a following.